I'm taking 3 random tropes, and I'm sitting at my desk with the mission of turning them into the best fantasy short story I've ever written. Why? Cause it's not just for kick. The thing is, I suck at story ideas. But if I can shift the challenge from conjuring ideas out of nothing into generating ideas to solve a very specific and defined problem, in my mind is a lot easier. Basically, if I can pull this off, I won't have to worry about what to write ever again for the rest of my life. Let's get to work. To start, we need 3 random tropes. So we go on tvtropes.org. This is a very nice page with over 31,000 tropes and a nice randomized button. Okay, let's see what we get. A character with commitment issues does not want to settle down with a love interest. Runaway bride may or may not be the end result of this trope. Alright, this is exactly what this challenge is about. Normally, for my taste, I wouldn't touch this kind of topic. But now I am. Fantastic. Let's see what we get next. What the f*** is that? A once proud race of civilization has been destroyed, all except for one last being who embodies everything a culture still holds dear, and lives on to keep the destroyed way of life alive. Ooh. Let's see what we get for last. I think you can see now why I wanted 3 tropes. Since the whole point of this challenge is to find a reliable and repeatable way to generate story ideas, if I only had 1 trope but it was something like fireballs, not many ideas to get there. But I feel like 3 worked pretty well so far. The next step is to use these tropes to create the characters. For me, creating characters is about deciding what they do and then finding out who they are. So that's how I went to generate ideas. Unfortunately, all my first ideas sucked. And that's because I was trying to have all 3 tropes in 1 character, which was very stupid. The point is that commitment issues and living arc are both character-defining qualities. And since stories are about change, I'm better off with 2 separate characters that can influence each other, rather than use everything I have on 1 character and be left with nothing else. That's how I ended up with a runaway bride. Yeah, it stuck with me from the trope description. And a last of his order knight with fireballs, cause knights are cool. And this may look like a romantic story, but I can assure you it won't be, cause that's not really my style. So, she's on the run from a wedding she doesn't want, and he's carrying the legacy and the duties of his order. That's what I do, but we can't know who they are until we know where they do what they do. Let's talk about world building for a moment. Here's the thing. This is a short story, and I believe the size of the world should reflect the size of the story. And that's because it's all a matter of details. The more detailed your word is, the more original and real it will feel. Less details, and the more cliché and uninteresting the results. So I'd like to have the least amount of word possible with the most amount of details possible. Because details are what makes your word shine. Like, literally. Okay, let's take a look. So, this is how things are going to work. Here is where Mary lives, and this is where she's supposed to go. But she will never get there, because here is where the story actually takes place. So I better learn everything about this place. Right now I'm writing Ravor into as much details as possible, so that I can know what the city looks like, why, and what Meryl is going to find when she gets there. And the more details I keep adding, the more ideas I get about what happened in the past and what could happen in the story. That's the cool thing about details. In fact, it's probably time to put everything together and understand what this story will look like. Now that I know the what and the where, I'm starting to have a bunch of ideas bouncing back and forth in my head about what the story could be. And I need to get all this noise out of my desk and into a document. In this way I can define the main arc of the story, organize my ideas, and see if they work together or not. I got something interesting to show you. My notes are much more beefier at the bottom than they are at the top. And that's because I know where I'm going. She has commitment issue. I have to orchestrate the steps that will allow her to get over her issue. The reason up here looks so anemic is that I don't know where I'm coming from. I mean, commitment issues aside, who is she? I gotta spend some quality time with my protagonist outside the story and listen to whatever she has to say. A rule that I live by is this: if I don't know what is supposed to happen, it means that I don't know enough about the characters, the settings, or both. In the past, I used to figure out the missing parts directly on the page while writing the story. Huge mess. Now I stop and I do research until I know what is supposed to happen. So much better. Okay, research is pretty much done and I think it's looking good now. By the way, I've been talking mostly about Meryl because she's the point of view character, but I worked on the knight too, defining where he comes from, how his order works, all the good stuff. It's time to start writing the damn thing now. Here starts the real work. My writing method is still evolving, but nowadays I like to take things easy. Write some, read it back the next day, make sure it sounds reasonably right, write some more. As a general rule, I do my best to enjoy the process. Because writing can become a real chore when stressing out too much about word counts, story structure, and all that stuff. I don't know, I have this romantic idea that if the story is right, words will come, and if it's fun to write, it will also be fun to read. I'm struggling with words and it's a pain to write. So something is pretty seriously wrong. 6,000 words in and it was turning like a cliché story. Mostly because Meryl was lacking any real personality. So I did the only thing to do and started over. Same story, but first person instead of third limited, and I wanted Meryl as far as possible from the bride-to-be personality, then back to the grind. By the way, a kick-ass editor would make the writing a lot easier. My actual editor sucks, doesn't even know the language. Hey, I'm trying, dude. Jesus. Anyway, I wrote it back from the top, but is it any good? Well, I don't know. You tell me. The link with the Google Doc with the maps and the story is down in the description, so let me know your thoughts and I'll catch you in the next one. Because I got an idea for another story and we'll see how it turns out. Cheers.